Hey everyone, Rob here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today is a crazy day in the metals market. I know you're all excited. I'm excited. This is insane. Gold is at all-time highs. All-time highs for gold, literally over 1940 an ounce right now. It's intense. Silver up 6%, 6% over 24 an ounce for silver right now, which is going to lead me into, I don't want to act like I'm some sort of know-it-all because, I could very well be wrong, but I have been very bullish on silver. If you check any of my past videos, I suggest going to the Future of Money playlist. The last video I did before this was on silver as well, but I want to say 3 weeks ago, I did a silver to gold ratio at 100,000 in silver, 100,000 in gold, and I was saying, silver is extremely undervalued. The ratio should not be at 100. It was 100 to 1 at the time, and now the ratio is 80, and silver went from 18 to 24. So it's really a strategy. So it's not like I'm not a guru that knows exactly when these moves are going to happen, but the ratio, when you study what's going on, makes no sense. No sense at all. And I'm going to go in this video, as in all the videos, I don't want to make content as filler content. And I hate to put down some other people out there, but I was very disappointed. There's some very well-known YouTubers in the precious metal space. I don't really want to say their names, but I did come at them in their comments recently because I feel that they're making like filler content. You ever go through an album that recently gets released and there's like 3 really good songs, and then a lot of it's just filler songs, just to fill up the album. I don't think that you should be giving filler content that's ill-informed. I don't think that you should act like you're a guru. None of this is financial advice. All of us say that. This is just education on our opinions. But I put my money where my mouth is. I hope that you know that about me. I challenged one of them to a bet. A gentleman's bet, just a donation bet, that I thought silver was going to go over 30 before it ever went to 15. And he didn't take that for 100 ounces of silver. It is what it is. The reason I did that is because this individual is saying, right now is not the time to buy silver. At the time, silver was like 21, 22. But right now is not the time to buy silver. There's going to be the perfect opportunity to buy silver. Just wait, not yet, because this, and that's going to happen, and it's going to send silver plummeting. And as a trader and knowing what happens with physical silver when the market corrects, you can't get it for cheap when it corrects. So it's not like if it falls to 12, you're going to get it for 12. There's going to be a very high premium on that silver because it gets sucked up extremely fast. So don't think that there's going to be some major correction and that's going to give you your opportunity to hold silver. Know that there's a finite amount of silver. Know that there is less above ground silver than there is of this extremely valuable gold metal right now. This is crazy. It's 1920 an ounce. That is just, 94, excuse me, an ounce. But let's go a little bit more into detail on that. The first thing I want to say is don't day trade your metals. Don't take someone's advice saying, hey, there's going to be a perfect opportunity to get in. Nobody can catch a falling knife. Nobody knows where the top is. Nobody knows where the bottom is. If they say they do, they're not telling the truth because none of us know. All you can do is develop a thesis and stick to your thesis. I like to stick to 36 months and more. That's what I personally do. When the ratio is over 100, that's my point where I'm like, yeah, this is crazy. And I made a video back then. That's what's so cool about these YouTube videos. I don't want to be the guy that's like constantly like, well, I told you so, and I told you so, and I told you so. But when I'm wrong, better believe people are going to tell me when I'm wrong. But when you're right, you can at least go back to a video and go, oh, well, I guess he wasn't, BSing there. I think silver is still a buy at the current levels. Some people might think I'm crazy for saying that. Let me go a little bit more into detail. Why is gold at all-time highs right now? $20 over all-time high. Because my personal opinion, and I could be wrong, I could be right, this is just my opinion, the central banks worldwide are seeing the dollar go down in value. If somebody, this is a perfect way to put it, I think. If somebody came, out of, let's just say, some mine in Africa, said, we found the mother load of gold. It just is shooting out of this spot nonstop. Tons and tons and tons and tons of gold. And this is hypothetical. We're bullish on gold. But let's say that happened. There's just an unlimited amount of gold found in some spot. Wouldn't happen, but say it did. Would you want to hold a bunch of gold in your vault if you were the other countries? Well, that's what the US is doing with our currency. We're printing and diluting and diluting and diluting like never before. This is insanity. Trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. We're talking about another $2-3 trillion stimulus package that I might make a video on that later on, but the stimulus package is like, nobody understands that the hidden tax on us all is inflation. And what's leading towards hyperinflation. It's crazy that we're printing the amount of money that we're printing. So what's the point? These central banks are stacking gold. They're getting ready for a possible collapse of the dollar. They're preparing themselves. And why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Can you blame them? Our printing press is like red hot, And when I say printing press, they really just shoot it in digitally. It's not like they print it. It's just kind of a term. But why wouldn't they want this? That, I think, is my next point. That's why I think gold is continuing to go up, and I think it will continue to go up steadily. But I think the higher ROI, as I did back, 3-4 weeks ago, is silver, because this silver to gold ratio, what I'm looking at right now, is $80. It's 80. So it went from 100 down to 80 now. But what's even more interesting, and I'm sorry if I'm just ranting, but I hope it's worth your time. I just kind of want to put my 2 cents out here on YouTube, because I'm sure there's a million videos talking about all-time highs. I think this is going to happen. I think that is going to happen. I'd like to elaborate exactly why I think silver is the highest ROI still. So in 2011, gold reached its all-time high. Not anymore, but it was its all-time high back in 2011. That was 1920. Right now, 1940 an ounce. That's crazy. This is, the value of gold is just going insane right now. We're $20. The point is, we're $20 over the all-time high in 2011. At the same time in 2011, when gold was at 1920 at its all-time high, silver was at its all-time high of 48 at the same time. Yet in 2020, we finally hit a new all-time high in gold, but silver isn't at the same level like it was in 2011. It's half of it. Half of it. It's at 24 when it used to be 48 when it was at an all-time high. So now that thesis that I was talking about in my last videos is even more apparent, because silver should be at the same level of gold. It shouldn't be, half of where it was when gold was at its last all-time high. So what's worse is it's actually even higher than the last all-time high, and silver is still that low, which is crazy to me. So when people are saying, wait for the perfect opportunity to buy silver, the time is now. The time is now, because either gold is going to go down to tighten that ratio, or silver is going to go up to tighten that ratio, because silver's not at, like 48 and gold's at, 4,000 or 3,000 or whatever, and it's where it was last time. I think silver is just incredibly undervalued, and I don't think gold is going down. I think gold is going to steadily go up, and then silver is going to catch up to it. I don't think gold is going down to catch the ratio. So that's my first point on why I think this other, and I mean, there might be a few that are on my same strategy, but there's a couple bigger ones that just made, like, I want I want to say like filler content, you know, like I know I said that. It's just like, that's the only way I can put it. She's like, I think there's a perfect time to buy silver and it's going to be this. None of us know. But what we can do is develop this strategy. So that's the first thing I wanted to say, is that the ratio, it makes perfect sense for silver to double. I'm calling for $50 silver. I wouldn't be surprised to see silver break 30 in the very near future. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is my thesis on, and again, my opinion could be completely wrong. My thesis on what happens with the stock market here, a lot of people think if the stock market crashes, it'll take silver down with it. This is true. Last time in 2011 and at the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, we saw when the market collapsed, it took metals down with it. Now, they don't talk about how the premium on the metals skyrocketed when it was down at 12. It was still at like 16, but they did go down. What's different is there has been, since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, obviously there's been a ton of money printed through these stimulus packages. So if we're printing money at this rate, that money is being not only diluting our system and causing hyperinflation, so they're taking a tax from all of us through inflation that we don't even really see. It's just everything we pay for costs more money now. But also the banks worldwide see that and go, I don't know if we want this dollar anymore. They're kind of, you know, diluting their system. It's a worldwide currency, but we'll take this instead. Thank you. We're seeing that. What we're also going to see is, because they're printing so many dollars, the stock market could be artificially inflated, because all of this money, when you get your $1,200 check from the government, where do you deposit it? You put it in the bank. The bank then takes that money and then loans it out. If you haven't watched the fractional reserve banking video that I made, go to the Future Money playlist and it should be in there. If you want to watch that whole thing, I think it might be some good stuff for you there. If you want to check that out, but there is specifically a video on fractional reserve banking that I think is worth your time. So maybe I'll put that video at the end of this video. If you watch this all the way through, there'll be like a little square to click. But because they're poofing all of this money, when Powell, you know, prints $1 trillion, really they print tens of trillions because the banks multiply it. It used to be only 10% they had to hold in the vault. Now it's actually 0. So the banks can just give out as much loans as their heart desires. So this money is just getting like compounded like crazy. So yes, where are you going to put it? You know, let the bank hold on to the money. They give you 0.00001%. I'm being dramatic, but you get the point. They're like, give you nothing. Even in the money markets and everything, you get nothing. So you're going to invest this money. Now, the smart people are probably going to invest in themselves, you know, make sure they're not taking a fish for a day, you know, and have food for a day, and they're getting the fishing pole and learning how to fish. So they're trying to go and build a company, you know, but a lot of people also are being speculative and think the stock market's going to be a good place to put that money. So a very, very large portion of all of this poofed money from Poof Powell that trickles down to the to the commercial banks, and gets multiplied like this through loans, gets put into the stock market. And that could artificially inflate our stock market. So when everybody's saying the stock market's going to collapse, I don't think so in the near future. And I used to think otherwise, but the more money that gets printed, I just feel like it's going to artificially prop the market. And that's why I wouldn't be short. I'm short like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the stocks that I'm short. Maybe I got to do some research on that. But I'm short like a gym stock. I'm short like a movie theater stock. I'm short on certain plays in the stock market myself where I hold long-term put options. But shorting the overall market, I think, is a very rough play because they're injecting so much money. Because of that, I don't see the market collapsing. What my thesis is on metals, which has been what happened and is currently happening, is the stock market is kind of flatlining and holding and being propped up by this fake money. Now, it might go up a little bit. It might go up a good chunk a little bit. But the metals are starting to detach while it's staying flat, and it's starting to detach and go higher. And so if that happens with metals and we see this curve like this, it doesn't take the market to collapse and take metals down with it and then metals recover like we see in 2011. If the market gets hovered and they're printing all of this fake money, well, then there's going to be inflation and everything's going to cost more money. Gold and silver will cost a lot more money. So it will bring the value up due to inflation and it will hold the market flat. But we might see this detachment where metals start really going up while the market stays at these levels. And if we see, silver start really breaking out and going over 30, 35, 40, then and the market stays flat, then all of those guys that are saying, oh, wait till the perfect opportunity to buy silver. I hate to keep making fun of them, but I just think it's a terrible strategy that they're telling to thousands and thousands of people. And that should be a good time to say, thank you for being a subscriber to this channel, and thank you for even watching. We're 15 minutes into this video. I rant a lot. I don't chop it up. I don't make a bunch of, fancy clips and whatnot, but I just like to keep it real and say what's on my mind, give live updates and everything. And I don't have these thousands and thousands of subscribers, and I don't try to make too much filler content, but I hope that when you watch a video of mine, you know that I put some time and effort into it, and I didn't make any cuts. It's kind of, if you notice, it's really hard to find people that actually just shoot a video all the way through, because you make so many mistakes when you just shoot a video all the way through, And so I'm just trying to train myself to just do it kind of Joe Rogan style in a sense, where it's like, there's no cuts. If I mess up, you see it, and I'm just going to post it. It is what it is. But anyway, back to it. I passed 300 subscribers. I think on the last video I was thanking because I was a little bit below 300 and I was getting close to 300 and I was really hyped on that. But we passed it and now we're at like 330 or something like that, which to me, it's not thousands of people, but that hypes me up. And then what hypes me up even more is I have friends that are like reposting this on social media, and people that I don't even know reposting some of my content on social media and helping it kind of get out. And it just is like, it's super humbling. And I really, really appreciate it. So from the bottom of my heart, those of you that have done that, thank you so much. And I hope that this channel continues to provide you value. Back to what I was saying about this situation here. If the stock market collapses and has a major pullback like it did at the beginning of the pandemic, but the metals has already detached, and we already see gold, right now it's at all-time highs. It's holding at 1940, which is like insane to me. Part of me is thinking of start diversifying a little bit of my gold into some more platinum, maybe put into some more silver. I have quite a bit of a silver position, but that's something on the top of my mind is I think platinum is just so undervalued, and there's so much less silver and platinum above ground than there is gold. That's another thing people aren't looking at is you see these little bars and you're like, oh my God, a 20-ounce bar that's worth, $40,000. There's got to be less of this, there's got to be less of this. And the truth is there's a ton more of this. There's like 5 to 8 times more of this above ground than there is silver. I mean, you see this and it's like, wait, that's only, the spot price on that is only 24 an ounce. But this is, it's almost $1,940 an ounce. It's like, yeah, you'd think there was less of this, but there's not. There's a ton more. It's just in vaults. All the gold from the beginning of man is still around because it's not really used for any industrial purposes, and jewelry kind of sticks around. You melt it down, you make another bar. Gold just kind of sticks around. Silver gets lost. It goes in landfills, it gets used for things, and that's that. Silver is so undervalued in my opinion. I said it was undervalued back when it was 18, 3-4 weeks ago. I think it's still super undervalued at 24. The silver to gold ratio shouldn't be 80. It should be 30. So I still have my thesis that I want to see silver above 50. But realistically, silver could easily get to 100. And people will think I'm crazy for saying that, but it could go just completely berserk because silver is so scarce. The other thing to think about too with silver is because of the scarcity of it, these banks have manipulated the markets. I suggest you look a little bit into JP Morgan. JP Morgan has a extremely large silver position, and they also are short silver. And because of that, the DOJ has been investigating JP Morgan as of recently. It's only so ironic that suddenly it's pumping up 6% and up to 24 an ounce like this, you know. It's a pretty strong breakthrough of 20 an ounce, which was a major resistance, and now we're 24 and climbing, with gold climbing to all-time highs. So that ratio, it's like it's going. So it's amazing to see it, and silver could easily double from here. I think it's so undervalued, but because of the banks that were shorting it and manipulating the market, these scumbags that were manipulating the market are now getting, looked at. They're looking at Mr. Diamond, and they're looking at Goldman and all these guys. What's going on with them, manipulating the precious metals market? Suddenly it starts going up. What's beautiful about it going up when these guys were short is that now they're being short squeezed. And a short squeeze basically means if you're betting on the stock to go down and it starts going up, you start getting squeezed and you have to cover and join the people going up. When you cover, you have to buy. So they might go long. And if they go long, the reason they loved being short is because they could corner the silver market because it was easy to corner. Like I said, there's 5 to 8 times more gold above ground than silver. So it was easier for them to corner. Now we're seeing it break out over 24. And when I keep looking over here, I have the spot price over here. They could easily be being short squeezed, which is like, I'm sitting here in anticipation because a little bit more, 25, 26 could just boom, 30, 32, 33, because they're going to have to go long. And the demand for silver, if it continues to increase, you notice how silver and gold, they get like no exposure on you look at like CNBC, you look at these stock trading platform stuff, and they get no exposure for silver and gold. Nothing, literally nothing for silver. And it's having like 6%, 7% days, and like very little of gold. It just barely oh yeah, and gold's up a little bit. It's like, no, gold's at all-time highs. International central banks are gobbling it up because they don't trust the dollar. They don't really talk about the dollar crumbling. The dollar's down to like, how is it, like 93 or something, 0.93. They're talking about, high flying stocks, this and that. And it's like, they don't give it any of the exposure it deserves, even though silver is just performing like crazy. Back in May, it was at 12. It's at 24. That's a full double. If you hit it, if you time that right, that's a full 100%. This is intense. I mean, that's obviously from the bottom, but the potential of silver is there. Sorry if I can ramble a bit, but I hope there's some tidbits in there that are worth the time. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yeah, right now is a good time to be taking some of your gold. If you don't have any gold, I think it's a good time to actually even get gold if you don't have any. But if you do have some, think about, diversifying your portfolio a bit. I've talked about this in the past. Myself personally, I'm always talking about myself personally. I'm not giving any advice. I personally am heavy silver. Majority of my position is silver, gold next, platinum after that, and then a little bit of palladium and rhodium after that. The last thing I want to talk about in this little update is Bitcoin. Bitcoin shot through 10,000 a Bitcoin, and I am one of those unique gold and silver bugs that happens to be a big fan of Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. I think it's a great thing. And I think there's a world for all of it. I think there's a place for all of it. I consider them all insurance policies. Silver is a little bit more of an investment to me now because I think it should easily double. But they're all insurance policies. And it's perfect insurance policies because this stuff, this paper stuff, they're just printing it like crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And that's why we're seeing these gains happen in precious metals, and we're seeing these gains happen in Bitcoin. People want to get out of fiat currency and they want to get to decentralized assets. That's the goal. So there's actually a major common ground between silver and gold bugs. One of these days, the good man Peter Schiff will finally, I saw that recent live he just did with Anthony Pompliano, and Doesn't like Bitcoin. Anthony nailed some really good points, but Schiff has been nailing it. Schiff has been nailing. I'm a big fan of his, and I wish that he would give Bitcoin a little bit more time of day, because Bitcoin is a very elegant system. It's a beautiful system, and it's starting to go over 10,000. And I recommend. Well, I can't. I personally hold 5% of my money in Bitcoin. Probably 1 to 5% is a good thing to do, because if it does go through, we're talking millions of dollars of Bitcoin. That was really the last thing I wanted to say. I think I went over all the topics that I wanted to go over. I still am a big silver bull. I don't think that this bull run is over. And if it continues, silver continues, this short squeeze might happen, and we might see silver just start pumping over 30, going to 40, 50. You know, call me crazy, but I'm still a major bull. And if it falls to 20, I'll buy more. If it falls to 22, I'll buy more. If it goes up to 25, I'll buy more. Anything under 30, I'm buying more. You know, if I have extra free cash, yeah, I think more hundreds will be fine. You know, some rolls of 1 ounces is fine for me. You know, I don't think that silver should be under 50 right now. If gold is at its all-time high, $20 over its all-time high, silver should be at 50 over its all-time high. But for some reason, we're down when they were the same in 2011. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't add up. The OCD in my head is triggered. But yeah, that's the video. If you watched this entire video, I really appreciate you. There should be some, like, you know, videos over here or something like that. If you want to click the next one, you can click on one of them, or you'll see my face. You click that and there's a subscribe button. Would really appreciate having you as a subscriber. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I want you to be here as a subscriber. Just click that subscribe button. And if you feel like smashing that like button, if you like this content, if it provided you some value, if you made money with me, I can't say, I don't know, I'm afraid to say this is my advice or something, because this is just me rambling, but it's my opinion on what I'm doing with my own stuff. And if we all did well together, that's the ultimate goal. Hypes me up if that happens. What do you think happens? What do you think happens next? Which is the most undervalued metal to you? Are you a fan of silver like I am? Are you a fan of gold? Do you want to be holding more platinum? Do you want to be holding more palladium? Post a comment down below. Let me know. Let other people know, because it's not just me. It's other people that we're all learning together. I get criticized all the time in the comments. Like somebody told me recently, the mines, you know, he's like, I said that most of the mines are shut down, and I really thought most of the mines are shut down. He said, no, a lot of the mines in Australia are open, but it's harder to export. So it's like things like that. It really helps me, because there's times when I'm wrong, and I learn from you all, and vice versa, and from everybody else reading the comments. So it's really important to all of us that you post your opinion down below, and smash that like button if you can. Thank you so much for being here. I know I'm a rambler. Appreciate having you around. Appreciate having you as a subscriber. See you in the next video.